We pour this first libation in honor of all of those ancestors who first walked the planet, who built the first schools, to rule the first civilizations. We pour in their honor. We say, for all of our ancestors who resisted the Ma'afa Kiswahili for great disaster or terrible occurrence. Those that marched up out of slavery through the civil rights movement, the Black Power movement, we pour in their honor. We say, the millions of young brothers and sisters in every inner city, in every ghetto around the planet, who are dying because they don't know who they are or whose they are. We pour in their honor. We say, I want today to be a new day with a new passion and a new mission to carry out the will of your ancestors. Our Sankofa moment starts now.
Sankofa is a West African Mandinka symbol that means to go back and fetch it. It's a bird flying forward, looking backwards, right? And so it knows the importance of going back, not staying back, but going back and making progress with the information that it has gathered from the past.
Our young people today are in such a dilemma because we don't know our history. We don't know from whence we've come. And there's so many traditions that you need to know about your family, and your family's family, and your family's family's family. And it goes back, who knows how many generations and how many hundreds of years. We need to know that. Because right now, we live in an era where there's lots of bullying and harassment, and people say things and unkind things and mean things to each other. And I think if we really knew who we are as a people, we would treat each other differently with peace and love.
I know one of my great grandfathers, they were in the Civil War. They made a movie about it. It's called Glory. And that's as far as I can go back. But it's farther than that, I know it is.
I don't know anything about my family history and ancestry. I was adopted when I was 3, along with my sisters, Sheree and Crystal. I live in the hood. I don't act like I'm from the hood. That's what I've been told. I'm the way I am because of me and friends, but mainly me.
I describe myself as a young, courageous African-American male. There has to be something in my DNA that does come from my ancestors. There has to be something, because to me, everything has a reason for everything.
I never thought of myself as an African. I'd always call myself a Haitian American, not an African American. So it's important to know more because it'll probably help me better understand how we got from a certain part in Africa to Haiti and how from Haiti we got to the United States.
I identify myself as an African American, but then I'll be like, well, I'm African American and I'm from this tribe, or like I'll be able to know where I'm from.
Seeing as though I don't know my origins, I'd like to know. It drives me to want to know. It's like a Russian doll to me. Like, I came out of many dolls.
So in the summer, most of the students that were there were of Hispanic descent, and it was only 4 African Americans, and they all knew like where they come from, like Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, and all I could say was Philadelphia. and they knew more and I didn't. So it just made me think about, where did I come from?
I don't know. People ask me often, like, where I come from. Like, I don't know, because my hair is long and stuff like that. So I often get asked, are you, like, mixed? Or, like, my skin color and stuff. So, I don't know. I be wanting to try to tell them where I come from, but I can't. I can barely tell them. Native American. With a side of black. What do you know about where we come from? Like, where we started?
I don't know much about it except my mom and dad moved to Philly because there wasn't enough work. Because we lived in the rural part of Virginia, like the country. Mm-hmm. And they farmed the land for the white man. And if you notice, a lot of the Caucasian people, they know a lot about themselves. Like they say, well, I'm half Dutch and I'm German.
Right.
Well, I don't know if I'm half Dutch, part German, black, and what. I don't. I might have a rich uncle over there, great uncle in Africa somewhere that might like me a little bit.
Everybody should know their history. Everyone on the planet, because it makes them better. And when it makes the individual better, we all have an equal ground to stand on, right? And so I don't believe that it's fair to live in the world and not know yourself.
I want you to look at yourself differently from this point forward. Whatever it is you could not see about yourself, I want you to take a new stance on life. Because each and every one of you has a purpose, and if you do not see it, no one will respect it, because it is not their responsibility to tell you. But let me tell you, I see it. I love myself. I love myself. I honor myself. I honor myself. I respect myself. I respect myself. I love, honor, respect. Our village. Our village. Say what? So today we're here to celebrate the findings, a journey that is bigger than ourselves, a journey that connects us not only to our mothers and our mothers, but it connects us to a land forgotten, a people forgotten. We pour in their honor, we say.
The Master Clan test traces maternal ancestry by analyzing mitochondrial DNA, which men and women inherit exclusively from their mothers. You have the same DNA as your mother, grandmother, great-grandmother, etc. for many generations. Scientists compare your mtDNA to the African lineage database to determine your ancestry from 500 to 2,000 years ago. If we find African ancestry, we will provide the present-day country in Africa.
On this day, you chose to remember who you are, who your ancestors are, and the fact that I know that you're going to find something out about who you are and who your people are. And weeks from now, you will no longer be who you thought you were or who you built yourself to be this day.
My ancestors will be seen.
Good.
They will.
I love, honor, respect, and appreciate my history. It is mine, I own it, it is mine, I want to take it. It is mine, I
honor it. I honor it. It is mine. It is mine. And I shall die with it. I shall die with it. Evo. Evo. Baby, the last time I won't
What are your concerns, fears, or worries about the project?
My concern is like I'm gonna get my DNA swab back and it's gonna be like origin not found. They're not gonna know where I came from, or it's gonna be something extremely boring. Like everyone's gonna be like from across the ocean, and I'm just gonna be like, oh, this is where you're from. And it's just like, ah.
Well, I know my family, like my grandparents, they're from Sumter, South Carolina.
So, Dad, what do you know about our family history and how far back can you trace our ancestors?
Our family grew up in this town, South Carolina. It's called Sumter. My father's mother was named Sally Williams. She was half white and half Cherokee Indian. Milton Williams happened to be the father of Vanessa Williams, the first Miss Black America.
What does our family know about where we came from?
I think we have a story of your great-great-grandmother running away from her slave master and marrying her husband and bringing her children and her family to Philadelphia.
Like every New Year's, they would make something called soup jumu, which is a pumpkin soup that they would use to celebrate or symbolize our independence.
Who was our most distant ancestor that we know of?
I did know my great-grandfather because he died before I was born. He was on the war to liberate Haiti because we come from a long way before we get our independence in 1804.
Your great-grandmother, Molly Birch, was born in Wilmington, South Carolina. She was born in 1902, and she worked on a plantation with her sisters, and she wanted to go to college. I believe she ended up with a degree in nursing. She was an LPN, and she married Perkins, the last name of Perkins, but he got killed because they were in the civil rights movement. And what she said that who she was in the civil rights movement with?
Oh, that was Marcus Garvey.
Marcus Garvey.
Wow.
It is important, one, to know who you belong to. Your mother, your father, their mothers and their fathers and their grandparents and so forth and so on. And the further we go back, it only strengthens that pride, that confidence, that love for self.
Black is the beginning, black is the end, black is night, black is time, black is the basis of all colors of it. Black is Hannibal, glory and gold. Black is Makeda, queen of Sheba, heroes whose stories scream to be told. Black is the ship that sails the Black Sea. Black is its cargo. Black is the hour. Black is the memory. Cruel is the pain. Distance is the deliverance, but God is the power. Black is the chains, shackles, and tethers. Black is plantation, tobacco, and cotton. Black is gone home to glory. All of these things soon to be forgotten. Black is way in the water. Black is the shadows where we listen and wait and watch as a new culture is born. Black is the restaurant where you may not go. Black is the business that you may not own. Black is the dream you have for your children that things will be better when they are grown. Black is the schoolhouse away from the ghetto with the National Guard to make sure that you go. Black is the afro, the dashiki, and rap. Black is to wake up and discover who you are while the rest of the world is taking a nap. Black is doctor, lawyer, businessman, educator. Black is beautiful. That's what black is.
Many weeks ago, our young people picked up a torch to start this Sankofa project. When you receive your results of your family's history, you are then held accountable and you are responsible for this story getting to your children's 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 children. And so, without further ado,
I'm from the Mafa people in Cameroon.
Tikar people in Cameroon.
Tikar people in Cameroon.
Tikar people living in Cameroon.
The Timni people living in Sierra Leone.
Yoruba people living in Nigeria.
I'm from the Fula people in Guinea-Bissau.
I am a part of the Tikar Cameroon people.
The Mende and Temne people living in Sierra Leone. And Kuru people living in Liberia.
we know where we're from. We are from West Africa. We are of the stock of those Africans who made it. And as a descendant, as an offspring of individuals who refuse to be anything less than African, anything less than powerful, strong-willed, and dedicated, and loyal, what now makes sense to me is the newfound that was hidden, that you uncovered or discovered, the veil that you've taken off. I am an African American. What does that say? That say I'm African, but I am American born. The first name tells you who you are. The second name tells you where you are. And always remember that. And if your ancestors didn't take no for an answer and they fought to get you here, my question is, what will you fight to do for those who have yet to come?
David Hume, a British philosopher, he basically introduced or came up with the racial outlook. He stated they had no sciences, no maths, no arts, but like that's clearly untrue. Because even just researching my people, the Tinkai people, you see that they were known for having arts and dances and sciences and math and things like that. So you know, like, these people put these thoughts in our head that weren't true. I think that's why we were put in the position we were.
I felt like it was a weight lifted off my shoulder. Understanding where you come from and actually having a good relation to them, even though they're far away. I learned a lot about the Tikar people, that they were gifted in music and dancing and acting. It makes me feel great. It's like I feel like it's in my blood, like they passed it right to me.
I've learned a lot about our past and our ancestors before me. I can identify myself as something other than a Haitian. We really are from Africa. You know, some things that we kept, they kept. And I feel proud to know that during every year, there's another family in Cameroon celebrating the same thing that we're celebrating.
I'm from Africa. I originate in Africa. I'm Mafa or Matakaram. I know who I am, and I know what I am. I want to go into game design. I want to make games, a role-playing game. And during the entire RPG, you're sent to different sections of time. Like if you were African American, you can go back to that time and see how the world developed. It would probably be like a moment of discovery.
It impacted me and my mom because like now we know where we are from in our family, and we could tell other people, like I could tell my children, and it can go on and on, that I know where I'm from, Sierra Leone. I actually would like to go there one day and like see how it is, like for myself.
Now knowing actually like where I'm from in Africa, I feel much better. And I can talk to other people about it and let other people know about this whole journey and process. I guess this is just the beginning.
I think it definitely has brought the biological part of my family together. And not only was I from one place, I was from 3 places. So I was sitting there like, the Kuru people, the fact knowing that they refused to be enslaved by the Europeans, it shows tenacity, and that made me think, like, if I don't like something, then I can change it. Like, it's in my blood to change it, so.
All of the participants in the project, they now see value in Africa where they never thought to look at Africa for anything. It gives them another conversation where they can now expand their concept of art, another concept of family, another concept of community, another concept of spirit. All of these concepts are now new to them. They are reclaiming and not afraid to say, I am African. And so I am very proud of that.
I think it's just going to remind me to stay grounded, like to not forget like who I am and where I come from, what did we start from, and how I got to where I am now. That's what's going to remind me of, to stay me, and then to keep pushing on even when things look bleak. I can't lose faith.